Good morning once more. Ready for PQS? By the way, how many participants from the Ministry of Health are here? Can you put up your hands? Okay, some 7, 8. How many of you have heard of PQS before coming here? Okay, not doing bad. We still have to do some communication, but we're not doing bad so far. Okay, so this presentation was put together by the PQS team in Geneva. It's not just Isaac. My colleague Paul participated equally. And also Lauren and Gemma, who are not here. That's the full core team at WHO for PQS. Of course, there are lots of external consultants and institutions that support us. We are not just WHO. So what I'm going to do is to give an overview of what we do at WHO PQS. Without going into any technical details. Of course, we are there for the next few days. If you have any specific questions, maybe concerning a particular product or an experience, I think we are all ready to listen to you. This work will never succeed without the inputs from the countries and from the users of this equipment. Before I start, please, if you have not made it to the manufacturer's corner, try to do so today. They're all there waiting for you. It's good that you go and see all the good products that have been pre-qualified over the past few years. There are lots of new products, so I think you will not be disappointed. Okay, before we go into the PQS work, I think it's good for us to remind ourselves how we have come from the past 2 decades. 14 million lives saved by the immunization program over the last 2 decades. 2 billion doses of vaccines procured every year by UNICEF. And of course, those 2 billion doses of vaccines have to arrive at the health facility where the children are immunized. These vaccines cannot arrive in good quality without the work that PQS does to make sure that the equipment which store, transport, and administer the vaccine are of good quality. Where are we going? We have the plan to save 50 million lives by the year 2030. That's counting from the year 2000. And if you look back at 1980, where were we in terms of coverage? DPT first dose, 30%. Look at where we are today, 89%. We've done some strides. This is thanks to all the TechNet community and also the work that we do. Huge drop in measles mortality and morbidity. Most of you know this better than I do. So when it comes to PQS, we derive our mandate from the wider WHO mandate, which is mainly setting norms and standards and promoting and monitoring the implementation of these norms and standards. PQS has a mandate to define equipment performance characteristics to meet known field conditions and requirements. And when it comes to countries, there's a need to understand and inform the performance characteristics of the products that they order. That's very important because countries are not just passive consumers of this equipment. They are also actors in improving the specifications. That's why we rely very much on your feedback on how these equipments are performing. For industry, there needs to be a fair basis for tendering existing products and for investing in product development. we'll come to the TPP process where we look at a futuristic ambition on how the spec should be in the next 5-10 years. And then for procurement agencies, they need to know that the products they are procuring on behalf of their programs are of good quality. So what are we talking of when we talk of PQS? I think the good thing is that apart from cold rooms and syringes and waste management equipment, the rest are all here at the marketplace. So you have fridges, refrigerated vehicles, cold boxes and coolant packs, as well as temperature monitoring devices. There's a huge session today on temperature monitoring. So you hear more on some of these categories which are presented here. So in terms of the manufacturers, what is the geographical spread? You can see a huge concentration around Europe and Asia. A few in Africa, and they are coming up because we've received lots of interest from African manufacturers. I think the huge black hole there is Latin America. So maybe it's time, given that we are here in Latin America, for us to see how to encourage Latin American manufacturers to apply for pre-qualification. So we do not only work on specifications for cold chain and do pre-qualification, we also accreditate labs that do the testing of PQS products. And on this map, you can also see the spread. There's still a huge concentration on Europe and Asia. And this time around, Africa is the black spot. So PQS ensures the availability and quality of pre-qualified products to safeguard vaccines and other immunization products. You can see that from the manufacturer's manufacturer plants, where the VVMs are put on the vials. The specification of VVMs are done by PQS. When the vaccines are shipped, the shipping indicators which are used to accompany the vaccines are all done by PQS. Right down to the health facility where these vaccines are administered to the children. The syringes and safety boxes are all parts of the work we do. In fact, our boss really loves this slide because it's a summary of what we do. So what do we have in terms of achievements for the work we do now? More than 100 standards which are published on the PQS website. At times it might be very daunting to navigate, but good news, we are having a brand new website in January next year. So stay put. More than 400 products. I think it will be getting to 500 now. So this slide is a bit dated. Spread across 10 categories and 88 manufacturers, which we saw on the previous slide. You can see here how the products have evolved over the years. And it's important to note here that this is a snapshot at a specific point, I think in May every year, of the existing products. So it's a dynamic evolution. Some products are withdrawn while others are pre-qualified. If we had to just do the cumulative, I think it would be more an exponential increase rather than a linear one. So this slide summarizes the work we do, the standards work, the pre-qualification, the post-market monitoring, and the TPP process where we look at a futuristic evolution of the specifications. The standards are set based on inputs from the countries or from the program. There might be a need which has not been met. If it's a technological solution, PQS will look at writing a draft specification, which will be enriched by inputs from the manufacturers and from other technical experts. Once this specification is finalized, and it's usually done with a protocol, a testing protocol, every specification comes with a protocol. Once these are published, the manufacturers can now design products and apply for pre-qualification against that standard. So pre-qualification is always done against a specific standard. You cannot just apply for pre-qualification without stating under which standard you are applying. So the pre-qualification process is done on a rolling basis, first come, first serve. The dossiers are checked for completeness, and then there's a technical review of the test reports to see if it meets the required specification. If all this goes well, the product will be listed on the WHO website, and the manufacturer will receive a pre-qualification letter. But it doesn't end there, because this product will go to the field, and we hope to get feedback on how it's used, both positive and negative. It mustn't be only complaints. We also want to know if the product is doing very well. And I think temperature monitoring will tell us today. On top of the post-market monitoring, we also have an annual review process where we look at complaints that have been received on that specific product over the last 12 months, previous 12 months. And then we also look at the certificates, like the ISO certificates of the manufacturer, if they're still up to date. And then if the manufacturer has made any changes to their manufacturing plants or the staffing or anything, they'll have to inform us. So the complaints that we receive on the products can either lead to the manufacturer resolving the issue, because it mustn't always be a specification issue. It might be a problem with the design or the manufacturing of the products. But if it's related to the specification, then we have a process where we'll upgrade the spec to make sure that products which are pre-qualified subsequently do not have the same problem. And that's what we call the TPP process, where we look at complaints that have been received, and then we update the specs. So that will feed back in the loop, and then we'll develop new specifications. So as I said, every spec is accompanied by a protocol. And then you also have the target product profile, which is more like looking forward to what we want the specifications to be in future. So I think we have a situation where manufacturers have produced a product maybe for another market, and they come to us and say, oh, we want to pre-qualify this product. We are not against that, but I think it's always good to look at our specification if you're developing a product which you intend to market in this area. Because most of the time, the manufacturers come when the product is already advanced, and they are not able to include the most important aspects of the specification. Thank you for listening. Paul, have I forgotten everything? Okay.
Just a few more points. First of all, good news. Good #visa news. We have colleagues from EPI Uganda who arrived last night, so you're very welcome. And we also have a colleague from Chai in Nigeria who I think had the longest trip. Nigeria, London, Istanbul, somewhere. Panama, so welcome. I have a request. So if there are many people in this room working on innovation, on product development for immunization equipment and devices. I would just like to underline what Isaac said. We all assume that you're starting with a very well-defined country need. That's a given. It's come from the bottom, it's come from the country. When you define that need, and then sometimes it's a piece of equipment that's needed. Usually it's not. Usually it's a system or a worker, healthcare worker support is the real answer to the problem. But if it is equipment, please look at our specs first. They're not Isaac and Paul's specs. This program has been going almost as long as EPI. It's almost 50 years old. It was first formalized in 1979. So the specifications we have today have been developed over all of those decades with all of the partners, many of the partners in this room, and most importantly with ministries, with EPI managers, with national logisticians, with healthcare workers. So please, as one of your first starting points, look at the specs. And finally, again, to just repeat what Isaac said, please make an effort to go to the marketplace. The success of immunization is a chain, right? It's cold chain, it's supply chain. And if one of the links in the chain breaks, then the whole thing breaks. So the manufacturers are important partners for all of us. So many of them have come a long way and a lot of expense. So please take the time and go to the marketplace and discuss with them. Thank you.